For young people today, there really isn't a line between their online and offline lives. It's all just life. And the internet, it's this source of incredible connection, but it also comes with some unique dangers. A major report from the Institute Montaigne asks a really critical question. Is the digital world a promise or is it a peril? So let's dive in and see what they found.
And if you want to get a sense of just how deep this goes, get this. By 2017, a staggering 90% of people between 15 and 34 were what the report calls mobinauts. Basically, they're mobile internet users. For them, the digital world isn't someplace they go to anymore. It's just this constant pocket-sized reality they carry with them.
Okay, so how do we even start to tackle this? Well, the report gives us a really clear roadmap. We're going to start by understanding this new digital reality, then we'll face the risks it creates, and finally, we'll get into the solutions, which really break down to three big ideas: education, support, and maybe most importantly, accountability.
All right, first things first, we've got to wrap our heads around this huge shift. For younger generations, there's no logging on or logging off. It's all just one big continuous experience, and believe me, that changes everything.
And the speed this all happened, it's just wild. I mean, think about it. Back in 2010, the desktop computer was still king, right? Well, fast forward just 7 years, and mobile internet use almost doubled, hitting that 90% mark. This wasn't just about new gadgets. It was a total social revolution that basically put the entire internet in our pockets, 24/7. But of course, having the internet with you all the time, well, that opens up a whole new world of risks. The report does a great job of breaking these dangers down into three main categories that honestly everyone should know about: parents, teachers, and especially young people themselves.
Okay, so first up, you've got misinformation and just straight-up manipulation, like fake news. Then there's cyber violence and harassment, which is so scary because it can follow a kid right home from school into their own bedroom. And finally, there's the almost unavoidable exposure to harmful stuff. Violent content, pornography, all the things we wish they wouldn't see.
And this isn't just about bad Photoshop anymore. The level of manipulation has gotten so sophisticated. We're talking about things like deepfakes, which use AI to create these scarily realistic fake videos. It's a whole new level of dangerous. So, what's the answer? How do we fight back against all this? The first big idea from the report is all about prevention through education. The goal is to basically build a digital self-defense system, giving young people the tools they need to navigate this world on their own terms, safely.
And there's this one initiative that I think is just brilliant: the Permis Internet, which is basically an internet driver's license. The idea is super simple but so powerful. We don't let kids drive a car without teaching them the rules of the road, right? So why would we let them navigate the internet alone without teaching them the basic rules of being safe, civil, and responsible online?
And listen, this isn't some radical, out there idea. People get it. There is massive public support for this. A huge 88% of people agree that teaching students how to spot fake news and verify information isn't just a nice-to-have anymore, it's a core survival skill for living in the digital world.
Okay, but education is only part of the puzzle. It's great, but it can't prevent every single problem. So what happens when things do go wrong, when a young person runs into real trouble online? Well, that's where the next piece of the solution comes in, having a really solid support system in place.
But here's the thing. Right now, that system is, well, it's a total mess. It's completely fragmented. You've got one hotline for this, another website for that. The whole thing is designed from the perspective of the organizations, not the person who actually needs help. So if you're a parent or a kid in crisis, it's almost impossible to figure out who you're supposed to call.
And all this confusion naturally leads to the big question: whose job is it to fix this? I mean, who is actually responsible here? It's really easy to put all the pressure on users. Be smarter, be safer. But what about the massive companies that build these digital playgrounds in the first place?
Look, it's definitely a shared duty. Young people absolutely have a role to play. But the report makes a really powerful point. The platforms, the big guys like Google, TikTok, Instagram, they hold this immense structural power. And with that power comes a much, much bigger responsibility to design their products for safety from the very beginning.
For years, we've heard the same thing from these platforms. Don't worry, we can regulate ourselves. But as this quote points out, that whole idea just doesn't hold water anymore. Why? Because there's this extreme asymmetry of information. Basically, they have all the data. They know exactly how their algorithms work. And we, the public, are completely in the dark. It means their promises just feel like storytelling, like PR spin, not real action.
So this whole self-regulation thing, it's failed.
And that means we need a totally new game plan. The old rules just don't work. It is time for a brand new rulebook.
And this, right here, is where the report gets really interesting. It proposes a completely new way of thinking about accountability, and it's inspired by a totally different industry that was forced to get its act together after a massive global crisis.
Okay, so here's the big idea. Think back to the 2008 financial crisis. After that, the big banks were labeled systemically important. They were too big to fail, right? So they were hit with intense regulations, audits, and stress tests to stop it from happening again. The report's argument is simple. We need to start treating big tech platforms the same way. They are systemically important to our society, and it's time we regulated them with that same level of seriousness.
And this isn't just some vague concept. The report lays out a super clear two-step plan to finally end this black box problem where we have no idea what's going on inside these platforms. Step 1, make them pay for independent audits of their safety systems every single year. No more grading their own homework. Step 2, give public regulators the power to conduct stress tests, to actually go in and poke and prod their algorithms to see how they react to harmful content. It's about finally lifting the hood and seeing how this engine actually runs.
So when you put it all together, better education, stronger support systems, and this radical new way of thinking about regulation, the path forward is tough, for sure, but it's clear, and it leaves us with a really important question. And it's not just for governments or tech CEOs, it's for every single one of us. How do we build the digital world that our kids actually deserve?